Web surfers of far and wide, welcome. We yapping about something we all love and hate, money. Or more accurately, why you don't have any. Don't worry, this isn't going to be some boring lecture about economics. This is about how we're all getting scammed while the rich play golf on yachts. Fun, right? Let's start in the UK, mate, where house prices have been skyrocketing faster than Taylor Swift concert ticket sales. Since the year 2000, house prices there have more than tripled, but wages, they've barely doubled. For some context, the average house in England now costs €298,000. Meanwhile, the average disposable household income is just €35,000. That means the average house is 8.6 times the average income. Back in 1999, it was only 4.4 times. Translation: it used to feel impossible to buy a house. Now it's an actual joke. Your grandparents bought their house for $10,000 in a handshake. You'll need a small fortune, a 20-year career, and probably a GoFundMe. But it's not just the UK. Oh no, my friends. Here in the good old US of A, we're playing the same game. Housing prices have gone absolutely nuts. The median home price in America is around $400,000. In 2020, it was about $330,000. Meanwhile, wages are crawling at a snail's pace. And let's not forget rents. Over the past few years, rents have skyrocketed by an average of 20%. Some cities like Miami saw rent increases of over 30%. 30%. You know it's bad when people in Florida are saying, it's too expensive to live here. Florida! Now, let's talk about who owns all this property. In the US, the richest 1% owns more than 40% of the nation's wealth. That's right. The top 1% is out here hoarding houses like they're Beanie Babies in the 90s. And the bottom 90%? They're scrambling to figure out how to afford avocado toast without overdrafting their bank account. The worst part? Billionaire investors are snatching up houses, turning entire neighborhoods into rental empires. A report from the Institute for Policy Studies shows that these wealthy investors are buying up homes, driving prices higher, and making it nearly impossible for regular people to compete. It's like playing Monopoly, but one guy starts with Boardwalk, Park Place, and all the railroads. And the rest of us, we're just hoping to land on free parking so we can afford groceries. And let's not forget, it's not just homes, it's also inheritances. In the UK, if you were born in the 1960s, your inheritance was a nice little bonus, about 8% of your lifetime earnings. But for millennials, inheritances are projected to make up 14% of lifetime earnings. For some people, that inheritance is like winning the lottery. For others, it's like finding out you're not even in the game. In the US, the situation is just as bad. The richest families are passing down wealth at unprecedented levels. If you're not part of one of these dynasties, good luck. You can work overtime, hustle, and grind. But without that family windfall, you're stuck in a hamster wheel. It's like running a marathon while someone else is getting a piggyback ride. Let's talk about the consequences. When wealth concentrates at the top, it destabilizes the economy. It creates a system where success isn't based on hard work. It's based on how rich your parents are. It's like we've turned the American dream into the American Trust Fund. President Biden recently warned about this. He said that the growing wealth gap is creating a modern oligarchy. You know, like Russia, but with better Wi-Fi. In America, the richest 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 90% combined. That's not a system, that's a pyramid scheme. Now let's pivot to solutions. The Institute for Public Policy Research in the UK recommends higher taxes on wealth, not income, wealth. That's the money sitting in offshore accounts, luxury yachts, and those weird $500,000 dinosaur skeletons rich people buy for fun. The same goes for the US. Taxing the ultra-wealthy on their unrealized capital gains could bring in billions. But it's not just about taxes. We need stronger safety nets, affordable housing, universal health care, better wages. Right now, the only safety net most people have is hoping they don't get sick or evicted. It's like we're all tightrope walking without a net, and Jeff Bezos is below us, collecting rent for the tightrope. And don't get me started on corporations. The biggest landlords in America are private equity firms like Blackstone. These companies aren't just landlords, they're megalords. They buy entire apartment complexes, jack up rents, and act shocked when people start living in their cars. Now I know what you're thinking, but what can I do? Great question. First, vote. Local elections matter. Those city councils decide zoning laws, affordable housing initiatives, and rent controls. Second, support housing co-ops and nonprofits. And third, stop blaming millennials for everything. People aren't broke because we buy lattes. People are broke because the system is rigged. Let me leave you with this. This isn't to hate on people who were born into wealth. It's not their fault they get the super jackpot when they first rolled out the water slide. Wealth inequality isn't just an economic issue, it's a moral one. It's about fairness, dignity, and opportunity. If we don't fix this, we're headed for a world where the rich own everything and the rest of us are just leasing our lives. So let's change the game. Let's make sure hard work pays off, not just for the top 1%, but for everyone. Because if we don't, the future isn't going to be a dream. It's going to be a nightmare. If you enjoy the video or appreciate the information, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.